For those of you who listened to the first episode I've done on the life of General Ne Win may have noticed that I referred to Ba Thaung, Kenneth Ba Thaung, who knew General Ne Win very well. And back in 2018, I did 2 interviews with Kenneth. First of all, on his life story, which had a number of interactions with General Ne Win. And the second one was largely about his many interactions and stories about Ne Win, some of which I think you'll find very interesting. To a large extent, they certainly track closely with the character that Professor Robert Taylor identified with General Ne Win in his early life, and which I think continued throughout his life. So following this will be the first interview I did with Ba Thaung largely on his life story, but with interactions with Ne Win. And then after that, I'll publish or republish the other interview I did with Kenneth Ba Thaung. So I hope you enjoy these. Thank you very much for listening. So this is Monday, the 13th of August, 2018, and I'm meeting with my old friend, Kenneth Ba Thaung, in the Pan-Pacific in Yangon. So Kenneth, welcome. We haven't seen each other for 20 years or something.
More than 20 years.
It's lovely to see you.
Oh, absolutely.
So, even I don't know your full life story. So let's start at the beginning, when you're born and where you're born.
I was born in the Shan States in Burma, and that was Mampan. Mampan is the name of the village where I was born at the time. My dad, he was the engineer in the public works department. He was constructing the roads in the Shan States. And
what is it? 1931? Was it what?
1931.
1931, and you were born in a village. It's a village?
Yes, village. You see, it's a village on the main road. You see, Mampan, that is southern Shan States, and there are hardly 20-30 houses.
Wow. And how long did you stay there?
My dad had a bungalow there, which was a government bungalow, and he was staying there as an engineer, as the chief engineer of the roads department at that time. And then very soon after I was born, we came back to our house in Kalor. We had our own house in Kalor.
And where's Kalor?
Kalor is next to Taungji. It's in the Shan State also. Kalor is a hill station.
So very nice climate.
Very nice place, yes. Very nice city, small city. And that's where all my other brothers and sisters, they used to go to school there. St. John's Convent.
How many siblings did you have?
When I was born, of course, I think I was the 4th one, but we have altogether 8 of us now.
Wow.
8, five brothers, and myself 6, and then 2 sisters.
And how many are still surviving of the 8?
I'm the only one.
My goodness.
I'm the only one, but the sisters are still alive. One is in New Zealand, and the other one is in Chicago.
So of the brothers, you're the only soul?
I'm the only one alive.
You must have led a good life.
I've been taking good care of my health. What I eat and how I sort of behave with the time that God has provided me. I'm very disciplined as far as eating and drinking and such things are concerned. In fact, I try to use the spiritual side of our system more effectively. I don't let the material side of our system try to rule me.
Very good. Very good.
It is mind over matter as far as I'm concerned. I don't let thoughts, also bad thoughts, enter my system. And whenever they enter, I try to eradicate them by concentrating upon them, thinking of them, and getting rid of them.
Because you meditate every day?
Every day, at least 2 hours a day. And I've been doing that for the past 35 years now. And that has kept me hale and hearty and sane also.
So basically, when you meditate, you sit there and try and remove all thoughts from your mind.
Yes. Thoughts actually will, after meditating for so many years, you see, I don't see any bad thoughts even trying to come near me. Never, you see. But sometimes, of course, I do get irritated. Yes, think of that. I don't let any bad thoughts come near me. When I say come near me, come into my mind. Because I've been practicing meditation for the past nearly 35 years, and I know what impermanence is. And I look at everything in its real sense, like, reality. That, it is just a passing phase. And it does not bother me. So I don't get attracted or attached. There's no attachment, there's no attraction. So anything that bothers me disappears automatically.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. So let's go back to your childhood, about when you were a kid in the village.
Not village, you see, we were and we after being born. I don't think I stayed there. We stayed there for more than 2 months. After that, you see, we came to Kalor, and we have been living in Kalor, and that is because, you see, my parents, they wanted the family, the children, to have good education, and the only good education in those days was the Catholic school, the convent and the brother school. So
this was called St. John's, was it?
St. John's, yes. St. John's in Kalor, and then when St. John's got sort of closed, I do not know why they closed it, because I was a very young person, as a child at the time. And so, because, you see, there was no good school, my parents, they decided to leave Kalor and come to Taung Ji. Taung Ji is another hill sort of, city. It's a big city, decent city in southern Shan State, and there we got admission into what is known as St. Anne's Convent. St. Anne's Convent is still there in Taung Ji, and I was there admitted as Kenneth Ba Thaung. Kenneth Ba Thaung.
So before that, your name was, before you got given the name?
We went, as a pet, I was called Kalu. Kalu. And of course, my dad, he had this name Rai, R-U-Y, Rai. So he was Mr. Rai, and
was that a family name? Was that a family name, Rai?
They belong to what they call it. You see, the name. It has to do with the.
Where you come from, or the profession, or
no, not profession. You see, it's the dynasty like, you know.
Okay.
You know, I mean, amongst the, because, you know, I mean, my father was Indian.
Right.
And my mother, of course, you see, was part Indian and part Chan. So I have got Indian blood and Chan blood in me. The Indian side, you see, my dad, his sort of family name, or what do you call it? You see, it is like a dynasty, you know. The name that, you know, comes down generation to generation. He was Rai.
But he didn't pass that name on to you?
No.
So what, for example, what were your brothers called? Were they Town as well?
Now, you see, the name Thaung was, because thing is that, you see, we were being Buddhists. Being Buddhists, you see, we were given the name on the day you are born.
Right.
We don't have surnames.
Correct.
We don't have surnames, and the name was commensurate, you see, with the day I was born.
Which is what?
I'm Friday born.
Friday born.
So because I'm Friday born, you see, Ta. Ta is Thaung. Like that, you see.
Right.
So
And the Ba?
Ba, of course, you see, it is father of. You know, I mean.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Father of, you know, millions. Father of thousands, you know. I mean, it's eulogizing, you know, it's like sort of, you know, expressing sort of, you know, respect.
But none of your male siblings were Ba.
No, I'm the only Ba.
Ba Thaung.
Others are, you know, different Burmese names.
Okay.
Different Burmese name, but I'm the only one Ba.
Okay. So what were you like at school?
Big one?
What were you like at school? Were you a naughty student, a good student? What are your memories of the school days in Tongji?
I was, think of that, you see, I was one of the best students, you know, when it comes to education. And at the same time, I was very active in a sports-like way. I used to do a lot of boxing, and I used to do a lot of soccer, football, play hockey, play cricket. I mean, I did everything, and I tried to excel in it. And as far as education is concerned, you see, I always used to be among the first 2, 3 in the class, always top of the class.
And do you know why that is? Is that just inbuilt into you, or was your parents' influence, or what? Why?
I think, you know, I mean, maybe I was influenced more by my father, and because he had passed out from Hewitt College in London, and he came out, you know, he with credit. He passed very high credit. So I do not know in the college whether they have first or second grade or what, but he was a very well-known student, and he passed out in engineering, civil engineering from the Hewitt College in London.
Wow.
In those days.
So he was sent from India to London to study? Or did
Actually, they have some royalty in them. But I don't claim it, you see. I don't claim it. And
from which state in India?
Beg one?
Do you know which state in India you came from, your father's family?
You see, actually, they belong to, my father actually belongs to the princely state of Patiala.
There we are.
Yes, Patiala. And because thing is that we were, in fact, very much persecuted by the Muslims, you know. And so my parents and all, they had to run away from Patiala to Rajasthan. And from Rajasthan, they came to Punjab, and they were hiding in Punjab, the village in Punjab that is near Ludhiana. They were hiding there, and that's where, you see, my father met the mother, they got married, and from there they came to Burma.
with a bit in between when he went to study in England.
He went to study in England, you see, because they had some assistant belonging to some royal family or something like that. You see, they had some support from the people in London, in England.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that's how, you see.
Okay.
There were three brothers, my dad, his brother, and the other one. The eldest one, of course, he did not study. But the other two, my dad, he became an engineer, and his other brother became a doctor from London.
And stayed in England.
And they came back.
To India or Burma? India. Back to
No. They came back to my dad came to Burma.
Right.
And the other brother, he remained behind in India.
Right. So going back again to your childhood, so when you were about 7 or 8, the Second World War started.
Second World War started when for 1942. 1942. At that time, I was 8, 9.
8, 9. And,
Yeah.
and what do you remember about what did you have to do when in those years?
Well, I mean, I remember, you see, we going to the airport because thing is that my dad had got tickets to leave Burma and fly to India.
Yeah, because he was a senior
Because on
civil
account of the Second World War approaching
Yeah.
the country. So he got tickets for the whole family. And we went to the airport, and just before we reached the airport got bombed. And the airport got bombed, and so we could not fly. And in fact, that airport closed away. And so since there's no other way to leave that place, so we went to a village where my dad had friends, you see. And we used to live in a cow shed. And that's how, you see, we started the Second World War.
How long did you live in the cow shed?
I mean, it was from cow shed to cow shed, but in between we did live in a small bungalow also, because the Japanese, they wanted my dad to work for them, so he worked for the Japanese for a few months, and while he was working for the Japanese for a few months, they gave him a very good bungalow to live in, and we stayed there. I remember that. But after that, you see, with the intensive bombing and strafing, we decided that we will not live in any town or city. So we went back to the cow shed. We went into so most of the 4 years, the Second World War, we lived in the cow shed.
And was the strafing or the bombing from the British or the Japanese or both?
From the British.
The British.
Initially, of course, the first 1 month it was Japanese, but after that it was British.
And so no education during that period?
No education at all. Only thing is that my dad used to teach me mathematics.
Which is one of your favourite.
Yeah, it is one of my subjects, the favorite subject.
And any of your siblings also have this desire to learn? Of your siblings, your
Yeah.
brothers and sisters, were they also interested in education?
Education in the sense means those who were elder than me, one was Jesse, he was elder than me, and then Xavier and George, they were working.
Already working, okay.
They were working, I mean, of course, whatever work they could get, so they started working as railway line inspectors, under the Japanese. Because since my dad was an engineer, he had some connections and all, he recommended them and they became workers in the railways.
So basically, the Japanese during that period, was not bad for the locals.
The Japanese, the administration was not bad, but some of the forces that managed the administration, some of the officers, they were rather very, I will not use the word cruel, but you see, they were very, abusive, and they used to beat, hit, slap. For them it was just routine. You want anything, you just slap the guy and tell him to do this, do that, Very, most uncivilized. Most uncivilized.
But not all.
Beg what?
But not all.
Not all.
Yeah.
Not all.
But you weren't scared. Your father was your father scared? Were your parents scared, or you?
No. My father was the thing. He only passed away after the war. Immediately after the war, he passed away because my eldest brother, he was bayoneted by the Japanese. When I say bayoneted by the Japanese, it's because he was trying to escape. He was trying to run away. And because, he had an Anglo-Indian type of feature, so they did not know, you see, whether, he was a good person or what, because, he looked like a foreigner and they just killed him, yeah.
Oh dear.
So, with that shock, you see, my dad, he did not last long.
Oh, the tragedy of that affected your father?
Yes, it affected my father.
Well, presumably the rest of you too.
Beg one?
Presumably it affected all of you.
Oh, it affected all of us, yes. Because thing is, then you see, my mother, she sold all her jewelry.
Yeah, she lost her.
Yeah, she sold all her jewelry. And my other eldest brother, the second eldest brother, Xavier, he opened a shop. A ration shop, you see, rice and peas and this and that in the village itself, you see. And with that, you see, and I used to help my brother in the shop. And the others, of course, you see, they went to school. And of course, the convent and the brother's school, they helped us.
So this is St. Anne's still?
What?
St. Anne's? Is this St. Anne's where we're talking about now, in Tangji? What was the school you went to there?
This is at Memyo. We went
Memyo.
to St. Albert's.
Okay.
St. Albert's, and then St. Joseph. My sisters and all, they went to St. Joseph. And thing is that, you see, they were kind. They did not take the full amount.
Okay.
They gave us a special concession.
Right.
And that is really, so nice of them. And they did not force us to become Christians or anything of the sort. No, nothing. They were just kind to us because we were good and poor.
Good and poor, right. And so towards the end of your schooling, did you know what you wanted to do?
Yes, I wanted to actually become a doctor. I was, thinking, hoping to become a doctor. But because, you see, I had no support from the family, because the thing is that to go to the university, you need to have financing. And so here, you see, I was helping my brother one side in the shop, and the other side I want to study, and the other side, you see, I have my brothers and sisters who are studying. And for them, you see, we need payment, financing. So I was active in that sense, helping my brother in financing them. And after that, so I, with the help of some of the people, my friends, you see, I got a job as a telephone operator. I got a job as a telephone operator, and I used to work in the night.
Part-time job.
Part-time job, you see, I used to work. They arranged it for me in such a way that I could work at night, get paid for it, and then I could study in Manly College.
Study what?
Science. Science. Because, we don't have, from year one, we don't have medicine or, we have intermediate.
Okay.
So we have intermediate of science and intermediate of arts. If you want to go into arts, you go into IA. If you want to go into science and, medicine or engineering, you go into ISC, the intermediate of science. And I went into intermediate of science. I studied and I did pretty well, and I passed intermediate of science. And there I was, intermediate of science, and I could not go to the medical college because there's no one to look after me or pay for it.
Right.
So I had friends who had not even passed the intermediate, but they had passed the matriculation, they had passed the high school, and they came to me saying that, let's join the military. So this was in Myanmar.
What year would we be talking about? What year would we be talking about, do you think?
1951.
51, okay.
51. He said, let's join the military. Now, I did not know that the military was looking for ISC, Intermediate of Science people,
Graduates.
because they want to train engineers and doctors for the army. We didn't have any. We hardly had any engineers in the army. 1951, you can imagine.
Yes.
We just, the army had just been formed.
It just got independence.
And so what happened is, I did not know about it. All I knew was I was looking after my brother, I was looking after my mother. And then I was also, because then Mr. Evans, he was the district engineer of telecoms, and he was so kind enough for giving me a job in Myanmar itself. So I used to sort of, work in the telephone department at night in Myanmar itself, and in the daytime I used to help my brother with the shop. So when my friends, they said, Kenneth, let's join the army. I said, that looks nice, sounds nice. So we joined the army. We decided to join the army, and we had to go to Mandalay. From Myanmar to Mandalay is about 40 miles. We had to go there for the interview. And by chance, it is not a routine. But thing is that during the interview, who happened to turn up was General Ne Win.
Goodness gracious.
You see, he normally does not go to all these places. He's head of the army. But I believe, he was passing by. He was in that area, and he appeared while I was being interviewed. And I remember him asking me one question. And that question was a very funny question. He asked me, and this is in English, he asked me, you are, fighting the enemy, and you have reached the place where the enemy is, and while you are about to get rid of the enemy in the last phase, and you get an order saying, stop everything and come back, will you get rid of the enemy, or you will just come back? So I said, an order is an order. So since I've been ordered to come back, I said, I have to come back. I'll stop everything. And somehow or the other, he liked it and he remembered it. Because that was a very funny question. You are in the last stages of operation, you are about to get rid of the enemy, and at that time, you see, at the spur of the moment, you are ordered to come back immediately. So I say, an order is an order, so I will listen to the order, I will obey the order. And he liked it. So I was...
So you got into the army?
I got into the army. And we had to go to Mingladong.
Which is
for
just
basic military, BATD, Burma Army Training Depot. BATD, which other people did not have to go, but I had to go. And some of my other friends also, they had to go. They went to BATD, and we were there for 4 months.
This is just outside Yangon, isn't it?
Yangon, yes, that's right. Next to the airport.
Yeah.
You see, and there we were there for 4 months, and then it was end of the year 1951.
You're 20 years old.
1952. We passed out from Mingladong and we had to come to Myanmar. We came by boat up the river Irrawaddy, and there I became an officer cadet in the officer training school in Myanmar. And we had to, and I passed out from the officer training school in Myanmar in August 20th, 1952.
A few days' time.
Yes. I passed out from, and then I was sent to the 6th Burma Rifles. It's an infantry battalion. And there I was a platoon commander fighting against the Chinese, the BCP, the Burmese Communist Party, the KNDO, and I was there. And then you see,
so you saw action.
I was in action. I got wounded also.
Really?
I got wounded also, but in fact, I got recommended also for gallantry award. I have a piece of paper, and after that, I led a company. In 1954.
So you're a lieutenant or lieutenant?
Lieutenant.
Yeah.
I was a lieutenant. I was leading a company on the Burma-Thai border. We had the big mines, the Wolfram mines of Burma, very big mine, Nam Yen mine. And I was there, and so after capturing the mine, some of the senior officers, they came to see, how it's just on the border. And who was that person who was Ne Win? As a general, you see, at that time he came to see, and the only officer who was there to, capable to give him a salute, Guard of Honor salute, it was me. With my whole troops, lined up, she gave him, Guard of Honor salute, and as he was passing by, He looked at me and he said, he lifted his finger and he pointed the finger at me. And he said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Sir, I'm enjoying." I use the word "I'm enjoying." So that night, at the guest night, you see, when elderly people, they come, you see, we have mess night, guest night. There, you see, he called me and he said, "What are you doing here? Aren't you, he remembered me because he's the one who asked me the question. So I said, I could not go into engineering or into this thing. I like the army. I thought I'm happy here. And he said, you should study more. That's all. He didn't say much. And after 1 week, after exactly 1 week, I got orders from Rangoon, the War Office, saying that, "Kenneth, come and report to the War Office in Rangoon." So within 10 days, you see, I had to go from the front line, I had to go to the War Office and report there that I'm back. So I was told to go and see a certain colonel, Colonel Tinso. He is the commander of the Burmese Electrical and Mechanical Engineers. Because the army has, different, they have engineers, they have signals, they have medical. So this is, Burma Electrical and Mechanical Engineers. And I had to go and he said, "We are sending you to India. We are sending you to India." I said, "For what, sir?" He said, "To study. Do you know that you have been selected to go to India to study engineering degree?" And that is in Pune, the College of Military Engineering in Pune.
Outside Bombay.
Outside of Bombay. And there, within a month I was there. And I had lots of experience there. I had to study because the thing is that most of the Indian Army officers were BSc, MScs, all highly educated, basic this thing. And I was there at ordinary ISC, and it was not very easy to compete with the Indians, but I managed it. And I did well.
How long were you there for?
3 years.
3 years.
3 years. 3 years, and it is equivalent to 5 years because no leave, no holiday, nothing. Continuously studying.
What sort of engineering did you study?
Mechanical and electrical with machine design.
Wow. And was this a master's or a bachelor?
It is better than, as far as, thing is that if you look at the number of days that you see in a civilian engineering college teaches, you see, and the number of days that we studied, our syllabus was twice as much as the civilian engineering.
And no holidays?
No holidays. Maximum is 3 or 4 days in a year.
Gee.
And so thing is that we did not get an MSc or a BSc or something else. What we got was member of the Society of Engineers India, which is equivalent to MSc.
Right.
Member of the Society of Engineers. And we had professors from the engineering college from London.
I'm sure.
Who used to come and teach us and examine us, you see, and all those things. So after passing that, I was told to open, after coming back to Burma, I was told to open a school of military engineering for the Burmese army.
Wow. So are we talking mid-50s now?
Yes, 58, 57, 58.
And you're not married still?
That is the time I got married. That is the time I got married. 58, I got 57, end of 57, 58, I got married.
And how did that happen? Had you known your wife a long while, or?
Thing is that I had friendship with her brother.
Okay.
I had friendship. He liked me, and I liked. Because thing is that, you see, it is more or less an arranged marriage. It was not love marriage or anything of the sort. I did get to see her picture, and I liked her, and so I did ask him, you see, to find out whether he'll be interested in an ordinary lieutenant. At the time, I had just become a captain. And so we got married, but thing is that I was told to open a school of military engineering, and I was running the school. We had three portions: electrical, mechanical, and civil. I used to take care of the electrical and mechanical part of the study. It is a diploma course, and we had a few hundred civilian boys who would join the army in the future as engineers. And I used to teach them when on the 28th of October, 1958, I get a phone call from General Ne Win's office to report to the Secretariat, because 28th October was the day Prime Minister U Nu had handed over the power to General Ne Win, that is the caretaker government regime. So the caretaker government regime was formed, and some officers from the military, there were 6 officers who were seconded to the civilian government, that is to help General Ne Win in running this caretaker government regime. There were 6 officers, and the one was General Lieutenant Brigadier Aung Ji, the second was Brigadier Tempe, the third was Colonel Sein Win. Sein Win, at that time, he had not become a brigadier. Colonel Sein Win. Then the fourth was Colonel Kenyo, and the fifth was Lieutenant Colonel Somya Teng. And the sixth, I do not know why, but you see, it was me, Captain Kenneth Ba Thaung. I was surprised, I said, I mean, all those big shots are there, but here you see Captain Kenneth Ba Thaung. So I went and paid my respect to General Ne Win, and I said, sir, national planning? I said, I'm just an engineer. National planning. And he told me, shut up. He told me, shut up. He said, I'll tell you what to do. You go and take charge of your office. So I went to the Ministry of National Planning. The secretary of the Ministry of National Planning was an elderly person, Ukamaung Ji, and he was very nice to me. He said, I'm a young boy compared to him. And he said, sir, he called me sir, be comfortable. We will discuss. So that's how, you see, I came into this thing, and then I started working very closely with General Ne Win. He was the Minister for National Planning. So, and he wanted me to be in his ministry. And the responsibility that was given to me was all the projects, engineering projects, procurement of engineering equipment, all procurement of engineering equipment, machine, has to be approved by me. I have to do research into it, look whether, you see, first of all, we have to see whether what they need, the various ministries and the government department or anyone, what they need is whether it is available locally to save money. If it is not available locally, okay, what exactly do they need? And to sort of, look into the specification and look into the necessity. And after vetting it, to decide, and after deciding to give authorization to purchase. My God, and I was there. And that's the time, you see, when all the big ambassadors from various countries used to come and meet this captain.
Yeah, you're 27 years old.
Exactly. Can you imagine, you see? And there I was, you see, a young man, and the ambassadors and this and that. Because thing is that, you see, this is not small money.
Yeah.
This is big money, and they want to sell their wares. They want to have closer relationship
With the new government.
And that's what, you see, I was, and after this, what happened is, after sort of, fulfilling my duty here, once we handed over, General Ne Win handed over the power to UNU after the caretaker government regime task was done. He handed over the power to UNU, and I had to go back to the military to get my rank, because there in the civilian side, you see, I was just a captain.
Yeah.
So to become a major, I had to go to Molmein. That is the engineering unit. We have a unit, so I became head of that unit. And that is the time, you see, when, Colonel Thaung, Colonel Maulwin, they were there in Molmein. And later on, Colonel Tin Sui also came there. And Kenyo also came there. Kenyo was Tin Sui's PA at that time. And there I was, you see, head of the engineering unit. And that is the time, you see, when General Ne Win visited Molmein to inspect the units. And he remembered me, and we were looking at some of the hills around Molmein, and all the hills were bald. And he, and of course, Colonel Thaung, they says, look, the hills have become bald because all the trees have been chopped off for firewood. I said, for what? To cook the seawater, to boil the seawater and make salt. Because Burma was the country that depended upon import of salt. We did not have our own salt. We used to get salt from India, we used to get salt from Thailand, and we didn't have our own salt. So the people who used to make salt in Burma, they used to just boil the seawater and make it into salt.
Very inefficient.
And that's how all the trees and all, the hills have become bald-like, without trees. He said, do it. And General Ne Win said, Kenneth, do something. Now, I'm an engineer. I've got nothing to do with seawater. I've got nothing to do with seawater. So Colonel Thaung said, okay, we will see what we can do. So he told me to study the salt industry while I was commanding officer of the BEME. So what I did, I went to Chakmi. Chakmi is a village where people, they boil salt. They make salt. So I went there, and we have a research station, about 20 acres of land where the seawater is pumped on. And there, you see, I opened my office there in the salt field for nearly 3 months, and I learned what is the salt industry. And that's where I learned that, you can evaporate the seawater in stages and it can become solar salt. But I did not know how to do it on a commercial multi-scale. So Colonel Taung and Colonel Maulne, they said, Kenneth, you go to India and see how they do it. So I went with some of my boys. I went to Gujarat. And then the Tatars, they had the salt field. So I went there to see how the salt water is pumped onto the land, and stages by stages, as the salt water becomes saltier, I learned quite a good bit. And after that, I went to Thailand. There I was there for about 3-4 days. Then I said, yeah, we can do it. But thing is that Molmin or Burma, you see, is a place where the rainfall is very high. So will it be possible to make solar salt? It is not easy to make solar salt with the rain.
Yeah.
Solar salt is made in Gujarat and all, there's hardly any rain. In Thailand also, where they make, the rainfall is less than half of that what we get here. And then I said, let me try it. So I tried it, and we managed to get, the quantity was less, but we produced solar salt. So Taung said, don't do it on 20 or 30 acres, let us do it on a bigger plot of land. So he gave me 700 acres in Sese. Sese is, you see, it's a beach area, very beautiful beach area. So 700 acres he gave me. So with the help of the irrigation engineers, I designed, we got bulldozers and scrapers and all to level up, even up, form salt field, and we made, we pumped the seawater and by gravity, fed them plot by plot, stage by stage. As the salinity came up, we shifted it to the next plot. Like that, you see, we started producing solar salt. And Nguyen was so pleased, Nguyen was so pleased. He said, you leave the army, you come to Rangoon. So I was posted to Rangoon. I became the commissioner of salt industry. Commissioner of salt industry. And then
1960 would this be, or when would it?
That was in 1964.
64. And are you then a major at that stage, or are you a major then, or are you captain still?
I was a senior major.
Oh, okay.
Senior major, and in fact, I was in the lineup for a bigger promotion, and then they. I had my own office and all, my own thing all over Burma. And then, so I added a few more thousand of acres, few more. In Panga, that is near Sese, 1,000 acres there. Then near Basin, 3,000 acres there. We started producing such a lot of salt we did not know what to do with it. So Colonel Thaung, he was at the time he became also the Minister for Agriculture and Forest. So I told him, sir, what will I do with the salt? There's no place to keep it. He said, give it over to the Trade Corporation number 2. So I told the Trade Corporation number 2 that I've been told to hand over the salt to you. They said, okay. So they had such a lot of salt on their hand that they reported, that, they didn't know what to do with the salt. So we started exporting salt. Peter. And so while the salt was going on, you see, I was told to also look after the Pearl and Fishery. I got an instruction from General Ne Win that I should also take care of the Pearl and Fishery. And Pearl and Fishery is a different organization altogether. Fishing vessels and all. We, at that time, we had captured a lot of Taiwanese fishing vessels. They used to come and poach in Burmese waters. And those fishing vessels were there.
Confiscated.
And I do not know. They did not know how to use them. They did not know how to sort of, organize this fisheries and pearls. And I was there in a dilemma because here, you see, I'm an engineer in charge of the salt. Okay, we have plenty of salt now, but now I have to take care of the fishing vessels, the fishing, I had to reorganize the Pearl and Fishery. And while I was reorganizing the Pearl and Fishery, General Ne Win told me to look after the Rangoon Zoological Garden. So I became the chairman of Rangoon, a young boy. I was, the chairman of Rangoon Zoological Garden.
Did you see him regularly? Did you see General Ne Win regularly?
Yes.
In that period?
Yes. Because the thing is that later on, you see, whatever he wanted to do something, he used to call me and, because I used to read a lot and I could sort of, if he asked me a question, I did not hum and haw. I told him what I thought was what. Nothing to please him or to this thing. And he liked that. And he always had me with him at least once a week.
Could you argue with him? Or was he...
Yes, I did. I did argue with him a couple of times. And though, of course, he sniffed at me, but, he told his daughter, he's the only one who dares to tell me what is what. So I took that as a positive sign, but I did not argue with him anymore. But I did sort of guide him. And that's why the Rohingyas also, you see, I used to. But there are many things, I would like to sort of, tell you. Because the thing is that I did the Pearl and Fishery while looking after the salt. He wanted me to look after the livestock. So livestock also, I tried to help them also.
Were you still in the military?
Yes, at that time I was still in the military, but in 1973, 74, we were told that, to take off your uniform and to join the civil side.
And were you happy to do that?
I was not happy, but I was told that, we have to do it as a responsibility, duty towards the state. I said, yes, since you order me, I will have to obey. So we were made to sort of, take away our uniform, become civilians, and then we organized the Pearl and Fishery, giving them incentives, because no one was giving them. If they catch 100 kilos of fish, 10 charts, if they capture 1,000 kilos of it, 10 chart? I said, no. I said, we should give incentive.
Right.
If you catch more, you get more.
Which wasn't a socialist idea.
So, but this was not socialist idea, you see. And that's why you see the people from the Burmese way to socialism, they became anti-Kenneth. They didn't like it. But some of the officers in the Burmese Socialist Party, they supported me.
But that also must have, the fact that you became close to Ne Win must have created jealousy and enemies too.
You see, that is what, because the thing is that we do have, because this is my view, because Ne Win, though of course, he was a learned person in his way, and he wanted to do good for the country, but he was regarded as a dictator. He was sort of regarded as a dictator, and for a dictator to be able to do things, he needs what is known as henchmen. A dictator can only be powerful or successful if he has good, reliable henchmen. Now what happened is, because you see, General Ne Win used to discuss with me, and he used to take my ideas, and the henchmen, that is the intelligence people, the senior intelligence people, they told me not once but many times that, Kenneth, they have a responsibility to look after General Ne Win. So please come and tell us what he tells you. And there General Ne Win tells me, one-on-one, where I'm with him every week. And he tells me, Kenneth, he says, what I'm telling you is in between you and me. It's in between you and me. Don't share it with anyone. Now what can I do? Here is the president, the head of the country, telling me not to tell anyone. There, the henchmen, the head of the henchmen, the intelligence bureau.
The spooks.
Yeah, exactly. Telling me that, to share everything. And so what happened, you see, there was open enmity. I did not become enemies of anyone, but they started disliking me, hitting me. And after, we succeeded in the pearl industry, oh my God, In fact, Dr. Sato from Japan, he's a pearl expert in Japan. He told me, he said, Mr. Ba Thaung, he said, your pearl industry is the best in the world. Now, this is Dr. Sato, Mikimoto Pearl people telling me that mine is the best in the whole world. And there you see, and we produce such a lot of pearl. And we are still producing that. We're still producing that. And they did not, because they were not interested in the development of the economy or the administration. They were more or less interested in their own position and, what they could derive, what they could get out of it.
So what happened then?
Well, for no rhyme or reason, you see, I had to go to Moscow. That is the insane jail.
So they trumped up a charge. They trumped up a charge.
Trumped up. You see, it is a very, everyone knows, because the thing is that we had called for tenders to buy fishing vessels, and the loan was provided to us by the Asian Development Bank. This is known as a soft loan, no interest, and it is a US dollar loan. So the countries that are under ADB, they can sort of participate in the tender, offer the boats that they will provide us. So we got, offers from America, UK, from, from many countries, from Japan, and from Korea. So what I did is, you see, which is of course my duty, is to draw up a comparative chart of all the tenders as to what are the specifications, what we need, and this is what they have offered, and this is the price. And we have to send this comparative chart to Asian Development Bank. And Asian Development Bank goes through the whole thing, and then they say, okay. So what they decided was, they decided to purchase from South Korea, Hyundai, the Hyundai fishing vessels produced by the Hyundai organization. So I said, all right. I put it up to my minister. My minister said, okay, So while we were in the process of signing the contract, we were signing the contract in US dollars. What happened is the Korean won, which has got nothing to do with our, purchase, because our purchase is in US dollars, the loan is in US dollars, and their country internal problem, they devalued their won. The Korean won. It was 760. From 760, it became 960. From 761 to $1, it became 960 to 1. So when that happened, you see, I asked my accountant people, what do I do? They say, sir, this is US dollar loan. I said, please ask the ADB. So we phoned up the ADB, and the ADB said it's got nothing to do, it is the personal problem. So I naturally, instead of sort of humming and hawing and sitting on it, you see, I just signed, I said, prepared to sign the contract. So we had only signed the contract, and no order had been sort of handed over or anything. A report was made to the general that, you see, I have misused my post. And sort of, that means to say, I have benefited by 200 won for every dollar.
Okay.
So I said, I have not bought it. This is, and then, I've asked the ADB. They say it's got nothing to do, it's their personal country affair. Yeah. But for that, they charged me, and they sort of put me behind bars.
So how long?
So for 7.5 years.
And you were never found guilty? You were never?
No.
Nothing?
Never. So, but you see, up till now, but they took away all my benefits. They took away my pension, you see. And of course, you see, I had a wonderful lawyer, Uma Maungji.
Yeah.
He was taking care.
Kenny.
And he said, you got Henry. So Henry said, don't worry, he said, we'll get rid of all of this. But poor thing, what happened is he died. He passed away. So, and his assistant also, he also passed away. And there you see, I am, and then General Ne Win is so kind, He tells everyone, my Kenneth, he does not smell. Because that's the Burmese way of saying that I am innocent, that I've done nothing wrong. That means say, there's no smell coming out of Kenneth. And so his whole family is still, very close to me. They love me. Because, most of them, they grew up in my hand.
But he didn't intervene.
He did not intervene because, you see, I do not know. Because henchmen, he did tell the henchmen, if you are right, take action against Kenneth. Otherwise, you will have to suffer. So that henchman, he had to go in.
The henchman then
Till
he went to jail.
yes, he
For
went
what?
to
Something else.
for something else.
Right.
For something else.
So tell me about your life in the jail.
In jail?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Jail. They call it Moscow. I mean the hygiene is horrible. Hygiene is horrible. The food is horrible. Nothing is good about it, you see.
No, physically, there's no torture. Or
No. Torture, you see, when they were trying to interrogate me, the thing, they did try to torture me. They did not allow me to sleep. No sleep at all. Whenever I, when I try to doze off and things like that, you see, there are people there to see that I don't sleep. And then, mental torture.
Yes.
Mental torture. And then later on, they came to a stage after 1 week. After 1 week of this torture, they came to a stage, you see, where they said that they will use what is known as third degree. I do not know what is third degree, but I believe, you see, they were going to give me shocks, because I've seen people being beaten there in front of me in the jail where interrogation is being taken place. I see, beating. I see even monks beaten up. Undressed, beaten up. People being sort of slogged, beaten up. And I believe, you see, they used to give, I do not know, I have not seen it myself, but they used to say that electric shocks were given. But no shock was given to me, but I was mentally harassed, tortured.
Right.
Tortured. I think somebody else, anybody else would have become mad.
And I think you said you were in solitary confinement for a long while.
Yes, they kept me in confinement. Confinement, no talking, no sleeping. But after 1 week, you see, when I told them, do whatever you want to do, I said, I'll sign wherever, whatever. And I am still sort of, without any benefits. But I don't care. I don't care.
Oh, but did you sign a confession?
I had to sign on a blank sheet of paper. I had to. Then only they allowed me to sleep. There's no confession. What is this?
I know.
No, because thing is that, you see, there's dollar and won.
Yeah, I understand.
You see,
so you don't know what they did
but
with the blank sheet of paper.
I do not know what they, because I remember there's one senior BSI officer. I knew him before. So he was also one of those who was trying to interrogate me. And he told me quietly that, Kenneth, you need a good lawyer. There's nothing wrong with you, but you need a very good lawyer to put some sense. So I had Henry. And all along, everything was fine, Yes, I did sort of, agree to signing the contract. They devalued this thing. It was not my doing.
Yeah.
It was their economy.
I heard from Harry, our mutual friend Harry. He said at one stage, after you'd been in there for some time, they actually gave you, you had your own little area in the prison. Is that right or wrong?
Well, what?
After some time, some years in there, you were given your own little area in the prison. You weren't treated like everybody else. Is that true, or were you the whole 7.5 years treated badly?
Thing is that, you see, I was kept in the hospital. I mean, thing is that the case was still going on. You see, I was never a prisoner. I was never something. I was there under lock and key.
Like on remand, we'd call it in our
Yeah,
country.
something like that.
You hadn't been hadn't been found guilty?
No, no. And they kept on, and they did not want to finish it.
Harry told me this story, I don't know if it's true, but you used to be able to get Time magazine because they'd wrap all the pieces of fruit in.
Yes. I mean, they did not allow me to read anything. But Harry, he was very innovative, one apple, half a magazine.
So he would buy the magazine, the current magazine, in English, which they couldn't read.
Yes.
And then he'd wrap different pieces of fruit in them so you could open it up.
I could read that there. That's what you see. I mean, innovation, they helped me with that.
Okay. So you're able to read Time magazine, but so it was really just the length of time you were in there. In the end, that your family was outside, you had no pension. It was a very difficult time for your family.
Very.
There is another story. I don't know whether it's true about that period.
Yes.
That people worked out that there's a way to free you that you could have escaped.
Yes, then there was when I was in the hospital, there is a place that is known as the guard ward, where prisoners or those who are undergoing trial and all are given medical treatment, and I was there for some time, and there were some friends of mine who wanted to sort of hijack me, take me out of that place, and they in fact had the boat and all ready.
Yeah, the underground route to get out of...
Yes. No, I mean, they were just going to put me onto a vessel, and that vessel would have taken me to Malaysia or to Thailand. They had arranged everything. They came to me and they said, but I said, it's okay for me, but I know, they will play hell with my children and my family and others, for no rhyme or reason. And I said, I want to, because I have no guilt. I have not done anything wrong. I said, I will face it. In fact, I wanted to face them. I wanted them to continue with the examination of my case, my trial. They did not. They just came, took the next date, and then next date they came, they took another date. Like that, it kept on going.
7.5 years.
7.5 years.
But at the end of the time, the man who was responsible for all of this, he too was imprisoned. Right?
Yes, he was in prison, yes. I met him there.
You met him there. And was there guilt on his side, or, what do you remember?
I think of that, when he met me in the lockup, he said, Kenneth, you're still here. You're supposed to be out. That is what he told me.
Which you don't believe,
I don't believe it, because think of that, there are so many people there. Because what happened is that, with me being there as head of the Pearl and Fishery, they could not steal the pearls, they could not steal the fish, they could not sort of, put their hand, into those golden coffers, they could not. Okay? And they were because they used to steal money from the government.
Sure.
Oh my God. Openly, And I was really surprised, shocked.
So how long did he stay in? Do you know how long the gentleman who you met in...
Nearly 5 years, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? And when you came out, you saw Ne Win?
Oh, yes. Almost 2 or 3 times, and he wanted me to answer as to what would you like to do. I said nothing, sir. I said I'm happy. I told him that I am glad I spent some time in the lockup because now my mind is woken up. That is what I told him. I do not know how these words, they came out of my mouth, that you see, my mind is awakened now. I don't need anything. I said, I'm very happy with what I am. So, and in fact, all that I was hoping was, very soon I will become a pensioner. That's all. But that never came, you see. And I was waiting for Henry to put it up, you see, to the court.
So you came out before the case was completed. You came out of prison before the case was dropped.
No, I mean the case was more or less thing is that you see, they held me guilty on benefiting with the exchange rate of the won. That's all.
Yeah.
And they think that I made some millions of dollars. We never bought it. We never got it. But this is how things have been going here.
Yeah.
Not only me, there are others also, for no rhyme or reason.
So you got no pension?
No pension, nothing.
So what year did you come out?
1987.
Which is just before the student riots.
Yeah, just
next
before
year.
the student riots.
Yeah. So I met you obviously, it was after you came out. It might
Yeah,
have been
exactly.
1990 or something
That's
like that.
right. That's right, Peter. That's right.
But then you went into business, you were successful in business?
Oh, no, I mean, thing is that, you see, my business would have been more successful if the military wouldn't have sort of, barged in. Because we were doing timber, we were doing so many things. Everything was successful.
Cigarettes.
We were doing it systematically.
Yeah.
But the military came and they took over.
Yeah, a sign that certainly Ne Win was well disposed to you. I mean, you went into business with one of the son-in-law, correct?
Is or win, you see, because I'm the one who designed and started this Polo 9 cigarette. He was there, Teng Wen, Mr. Kim, Pu Teng Thon. You see, for 5 of us, you see, we started this. And I'm the one who designed it. I'm the one who gave the name.
It was very popular.
It was popular, and it would have sort of, but again, it was so difficult to get the tobacco, this and that, every move that we tried to sort of make, there was something or the other being sort of put in like an impediment coming in. And they did not allow us to succeed.
So as a result of all of that, you got fed up, as it were, and you got fed up with the way it was going?
No, we thing is that then, you see, then what happened is the politics started, you see. That is the time, you see, when, NLD, this, that, and then I had this Ulwin, who was who became the general secretary of NLD, and he could see people were still very jealous and afraid of me, and he told me, he said, Kenneth, back up. He told me, he said, Kenneth, if you continue here, they'll keep on harassing you. And I was being harassed through and through, one way or the other. Things like if I want to do something, they want to come and, put a brick.
Is this still MI, still military intelligence causing these problems, or it's just the military not liking competition?
The military organization is still, thing is that from where does the military wield the power? Information. And the information they get is from the intelligence. They have, you see, various ranges, various levels. I mean, he had his own group. They removed it, but they had the other groups. They have one group, they have another one counter, and then they have the counter, like that, you see.
No trust of anyone.
No trust in anyone.
So you moved to America?
I moved to the United States.
Where your daughter...
With my daughter, yeah.
And you remained there for... That's why I haven't seen you for so long.
Yes, I was there only, I was taking care of them.
How many years did... More than 10.
Big one?
How many years were you in America? 10? I mean, you came back...
Nearly
from time
20
to,
years.
Nearly 20 years? That's why I haven't seen you for
right.
that time.
Yeah, the thing is that, you see, I used to come, you know, and then go back again, go back again.
And now you're back.
And now I'm back.
Back for good.
Back for good, yes.
So, came back in 2017, last year or this year? 2018?
I did come 2016, but then I came back this year.
This year. So we know that you're here because you've here to stay because you've built a new house.
Yes, I will be here. And
you're going into business to help your adopted son.
Oh yes. Yeah. His name also is Harry, but he spells it Hari. And I'm there, and he has a wonderful wife who's a lawyer, a high-grade pleader, a high-grade lawyer. She's very talented, and so I'm thinking of getting some pharmaceutical drugs from Australia.
Good to hear.
Because they are very popular here in this country.
Wow, that's good.
Australian drugs. So I am trying to. I did tell Christopher Lamb about it, and Christopher Lamb said yes. Yeah, I should go and speak to the Australian Myanmar Chamber of Commerce and Industry people. I said I will do that. You see, first of all, let me, because I've built a new house. And when I move into that house, you see, I've already built a small shop in front of my house where I hope to display my pharmaceutical stuff from Australia. And the name that my son Harry has suggested is My Oz Pharmacy. Because I said, why Oz? He said, Dad, that is Australian.
Kenneth, one wonderful thing about people like you, which is an example for all of us, is that, you've got to stay interested in life and what's to do. Here you are at 87 years old, full of life, planning new ventures. It's just wonderful to see. And look, we could chat for hours and hours and hours. And I'd just like to thank you so much for spending time with me now, and I look forward to spending lots more with you in the future days. Thank you.
Peter, there's no anger in me, and that's the beauty of it. The beauty of being there in the jail with the monks, poor good monks, is I learned how to get rid of my anger, and I'm going to make use of that in doing good for whatever I can.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you very much.